As you guys know, I got to mess around with this a little bit. And here we go. So first thing, you got to establish run. I pointed out Bryce Young, and you see the bunch look on the bottom, and really they want to ISO. They want to try to ISO the guy up top to make the read easy for Bryce. This is a running play, but you're going to see a lot of 3-by-1 formations because of they want to make that real obvious at the top of the screen. So top of the numbers, all those different routes he can run. You see Chuba does a great job. Chuba Hubbard's a good running back. Miles Sanders is a good running back. They have two guys on their team that can flat out run the football. Now James Campen being a good coach, they communicate this very well. They pick up the slant look. The Falcons are in their base defense, which is traditional 3-4. And they slant, and they all get picked up. The wide receivers do just enough to get Chuba out the backside. I know that was a little sketchy there. RPO game, we're going to see this, okay? And this RPO, for example, is a true run-pass option. We always talk about RPOs, and it's usually the quarterback's pulling the ball and taking off. This is a true RPO. If this linebacker bites, they're going to run the slant. So you see he steps up in the pocket, he steps up in the line of scrimmage. That space is vacated, and they just run to Thielen. Now, Adam Thielen coming over from Minnesota, everybody knows him. He's a great player. You know, I think he's the number 2 receiver on the white team versus the white team versus the black guy team that's going across Twitter right now, allegedly. But he's a good receiver, and he's his favorite target. Eyes go to him more often than not. They've got some other dudes on their team, but it's really who they're going to look at. Inconsistencies up front, and this is Icky, and Icky's like a great athlete who just doesn't have technique. It doesn't understand leverage, and just get like this kind of stuff happens way too often. I really look for Preston and Rashawn Gary to take advantage. This is Calais Campbell in like 30. He's like 52 years old, but he's 6'7", 320 pounds. Dude's an absolute unit, and just bulldozes Icky all the way back. Drives him back 6-7 yards, ends up making the play, making Chuba dance around in the backfield early. And this stuff happens. It's like, we always talk about on defense, one player can make a play. Well, that one player can destroy one player on offense, and things go downhill. We see the backside here with 82, Tommy Tremble. And again, it's just a player here, player there, but he gets thrown out of the way. Again, the running back's got to cut back early, and they end up making plays at the line of scrimmage. And this is like they're a decent. They're 17th is like basically split down the middle as far as running games go. They're getting better, and they're going to start doing some more downhill stuff. Even if it's out of a pistol look, you're going to see more pistol. You're going to see more downhill runs, I think, this game, just because the Packers have been so bad at it. So they're going to feature these looks. Again, same idea, bunch look, split out upfield. And these downhill looks allow for them to get the play action. And now when Bryce turns back around, and I don't know why they do this. They run it they run it both sides, but when he runs to the left, like, he can't get the ball out of some of these passes as early as he wants. So really, the only play he has here is to the 41-yard line on the out. But they're going to do that a lot because it simplifies the game for it, cuts the field in half. Now, when they want to run downhill, you see this in the pistol look. Like, these guys are all about coming downhill. They've put some people in place that want to be physical. That it's been a rotating turnstile at left guard. Throckmorton was in there for a while, and now Cade Mays, who I believe was a rookie last year, is playing, and he's a physical player. Like, this will be, if this is going to be a downhill game, like, these guys are about that life for sure. They will come downhill and try to punish you. Numbers matter in this game. If you bring the wide receiver in, now you have an extra blocker, so you've got 7 blockers and a running back in a downhill formation. You got to have numbers. You got to match it with 8 men in the box. If you don't match it with 8 men in the box, I'm including the safety or corner overhang, you're going to get easy doubles here. You see the wide receiver insert on the backside safety, and Chuba's a good running back, guys. Like, Chuba can run. There's a lot of plays on this tape that Chuba makes out of nothing. What you have to get with Carolina is you have to make Carolina drive the length of the field. I know they had that big drive last week, but Carolina is a team that is going to make mistakes. They're going to make mental errors. They're going to make physical errors. They're going to have penalties. They're going to miss some throws on 2nd and 8. This is basic stuff, and this is kind of what we talk about from a frustration standpoint all the time. The point of this is a left-handed play. You got to double to the first count in the box. The center's has already made his point, and he's going to the linebacker in the A gap between the center and the left guard. and they brought in an extra lineman. Like it's go time. They're going to run the football, and they just go to the wrong guy. Left guard, left tackle, for whatever reason, have the wrong point. We got to run through. And Miles Sanders, Miles Sanders is a good running back in Philly, and all of a sudden he comes over here and he can't quite get the same thing done. Why? It's like, well, because sometimes they don't block for him very well. Defensive end comes off the edge here, and you see the footwork with Icky. He's as good as an athlete is. He's really, really tall. Feet are just kind of almost like he's dancing, out there. His hands are outside. And Bryce Young feels this pressure early, and instead of just getting rid of the football right here, you can throw to the check down, whatnot. It's a scramble drill. It's a get me out of there drill. And so he always ends up kind of, instead of just buying extra time in the pocket, it's like, how do I escape? How do I get at her? And again, 54 sacks, you don't blame him, but it's something the Packers can take advantage of. Same idea here. The player's coming open backside. The linebacker's not going to be able to keep up with the wide receiver on the in cut, but Bryce is gone. And there's not a lot of pressure. He's just gone. He feels a little bit and he's gone. So you have to figure out how you want to play Bryce from a spy standpoint or a rush lane standpoint. But I would say this, if you get up to level in bull rush, like we've been talking about Rashawn Gary and Preston all year, if you do that and he escapes, he'll make off-schedule plays, but I think his eyes don't always go downfield. Ends up taking a sack here for no reason. So these are the kind of plays I think if you're watching tape, you're getting, there's some encouragement. Now, off-schedule plays, not good for him. He isolates on the top side, so they go bunch again. And they isolate up top. That play is not open. And so off schedule, he's got to wait now. He doesn't snap back. So he's got to buy a lot of time. And he ends up making a big off schedule play like he did at Bama, but he's on the run downfield. So you have to have a plan when he escapes the pocket because he's going to as soon as he feels pressure. And even though he's not a huge threat as a runner, one would consider either spying him with the defensive tackle or spying him with the linebacker, because I would say that most of his good plays come off schedule. They've got their own Jaden Reed / Debo Samuel. Their number 11, Emir Smith-Marset from Kansas City, in a trade. A lot of jet sweeps, end arounds, screens. They want to get this guy the football in and around the line of scrimmage. I love this play concept. So they fake the reverse. He goes back the other way. You see the motion guy gets lost in the mix. They just flip him out the ball. Ends up getting the first down. I think they're doing I think Thomas Brown's the coordinator. I think they're doing a really good job now. Kind of, he's starting to input his own fingerprints all over this offense. So I like what he's doing. And we talked about it. They want to isolate and attack. They go trips left. They want to ISO on the bottom because this is easy for Bryce Young to find. He's just playing throw and catch with his favorite receiver. That's it. And they're going to do that as often as possible. They want to isolate one and see if the coverage makes sense. If it's even close, they're going to throw him that football. That's where his eyes are going to go. So you got 4 on the bottom, empty. We're going to see a lot of empty looks after Baker last week. Like if they don't put Chuba and Miles Sanders out in routes, I'm going to be shocked. But they're going to go 4x1, 3x1, and they're going to try to ISO. Now, you got Chuba at the bottom here. And listen, after this, he didn't throw this ball, but you see the separation Chuba got immediately when that corner sat. And that's a corner. That's not the linebacker walking out there. If they don't throw this up once during the game, they're fools. If they don't put Miles or Chuba out there and throw it up once during the game, they're fools. You got to expect that that's going to happen. Chuba ends up coming back. Again, that was an off-schedule play. He feels the pressure. He's moving around the pocket back to Alabama football. And the reason a lot of this is off schedule is like this stuff right here. These routes are not good. So both of these routes are not pick routes, but we're going to run a drive up top and we're going to run an out underneath. Okay. And you have to already see that, everybody can see that on the bottom of the screen, based on what I just said, the best place to throw this football is to the quarterback's left because the linebacker is high and has inside leverage. So the flat's open immediately. And up top, they go slow They don't really try to push, and they don't separate on the stick route. Now, he doesn't end up throwing this football. Both guys were open. The bottom of the screen was wide open, and it was open immediately. But they're having those issues, and so this is an opportunity for the Packers because these guys want to run a lot of this short in the short these short, they're going to run goes or short routes. And like the deep crossers are there, but this is like with this wide receiver core, the speed that they don't really have, like all the things that are kind of going. They have DJ Chark, they have like I think they have Jonathan Mingo and then Adam Terrence Marshall Jr. Um, this isn't the number one wide receiver core in the National Football League, and if you're ever going to again get right, take away some of that 8, 10 yard, 12 yard cushion, play up a little bit, play at the sticks, play 5 yards off, be able to get your hands on a guy every once in a while, press him. Like this is the week, especially with a quarterback who's going to move around a lot, especially with a quarterback who feels pressure, especially a quarterback who's been sacked 54 times and doesn't get off his first read very well. But he is the number one pick for a reason. He does have a lot of talent. He's been put in a difficult situation for all the reasons we've stated before. And when you watch this is the last drive in Atlanta. There's just a couple plays that he's going to make. Puts the ball in the basket. Really, really wet field. Can't tell now. It's pouring down there. And then he does a back shoulder here. I think this is this the Thielen or is this the DJ Chark? But he makes a back shoulder throw here. I mean, that's just big time football. And so he's got the tools, right? Just like talk about work in progress with Jordan Love. You got the tools. You just got to keep refining.